now we are completed.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us. On behalf of Maritime and Healthcare Group, I would like to warmly welcome you to today's webinar, Breaking the Silence, Bullying and Sexual Harassment on Board. This is not the easiest topic to discuss, but it is a necessary one as the industry evolves and with the recent STCW amendments placing greater emphasis on bullying and harassment, we are being called not only to comply, but to lead meaningful change. Today, we're not here to blame, we're here to understand why does silence still exist, how does hierarchy influence reporting, and what does real leadership look like when it comes to psychological safety at sea. I'm truly pleased to be joined by an exceptional panel bringing operational, leadership, and psychological expertise, and allow me to introduce you one by one, starting with Susanne Coulibaly, Operations Manager at TP Marine and Vice President of WISTA Germany, bringing insight into governance and organizational culture. Captain Johan Ayaz, Master Mariner, offering the leadership perspective from command at sea. Andromachi Dimitriou, Second Officer, representing the voice and lived experience of the younger generation on board. And Fatma Noor Galchinkanya, Maritime Psychologist at AMG and also our Mental Health Program and Business Development Manager, providing the psychological lens behind the human impact of these issues. Thank you all for being here. And without any further delay, I would say let's begin the conversation. Just a note, during our discussion here, I will launch a poll, which all the participants are welcome to reply. So, Susanne, I will start with you. From your experience, why do bullying and sexual harassment remain underreported at sea?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for your invitation to speak today about my experience, and I welcome everyone to this webinar. Thank you for joining in. I do believe that they remain underreported because of fear, first and foremost, to lose your contract, to lose your wage, which maybe not only you depend on, but also your family. And if you are not immediately taken off board and maybe do not fear to lose your contract, there might be the fear of isolation in this closed environment on board with this few number of people, and then having maybe a small group against you can be enough to be fully isolated. And we all know how that could feel. We all have been alone at some point, and this not a good feeling. And I think the maritime culture often is seen as one where you have to be really tough, and explaining your feelings and saying how you feel might not be part of that picture. So when you do, this might be seen as a sign of weakness, while we all know it is not. Being able to explain how you feel is actually something very strong and has nothing to do with being not cut out for this job. So I do believe there's a false perception of how reporting might be perceived at the end, and that's why many cases remain underreported. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, Captain, how does hierarchy on board sometimes unintentionally enable silence?
Yeah, also I would like to thank you to all to invite me, the being a voice behalf of seafarers, also myself indeed. So it's very meaningful for those seafarers, and thank you so much for that. And it's acceptable, and it's sure that there is a high and very hard hierarchy in the maritime sector and in the ships. We always face this situation when we are working on board, and I believe that it's neat and essential on board. But the problem is in here with the hierarchy. Some people, some captains, and some I don't want to say the captains or the engineers or something. I don't want to put on the on the one way, but some people can understand in their way the hierarchy, and they can they can behave like in their way, and they cannot they cannot how can I say, they cannot use all the rules and all these regulations with the ISM rules and regulations like in the papers, and they can use in their way, and sometimes it can be wrong when they face the problem with the crew and other crew. So so this is unintentionally enable the silence on board. If someone wants to make some so actually in sorry, I cannot cover all the question in my head, and I'm still thinking that how to enable the silence, all these things actually. But the hierarchy is essential and it's needed, but sometimes for the personally, from the from some personal side, they cannot manage how to use it on board. So it can occur some problems when they try to manage the personal problems when they making on board, and this stressful working environment in the ships. So it enabled the silence on the all these behaviors on board.
Okay, yeah, because of the workflow, you mean, of the onboard environment that
yeah, that's why that's why it's needed, and because it's a very dangerous place to work, and there are lots of rules and regulations. They need to obey all these rules, and somebody must be head of the rules. But you know, this is the important part of things, how we can manage all these rules when we are managing it actually on board. When we are facing some problem, how we can use all these rules and regulations on the crew.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Andromachi, have you ever witnessed a situation that made you uncomfortable, even if it wasn't formally reported?
I think all of us we did. I think there is no exception in this rule. I'm not gonna say if I was prepared or not, or if I was expecting it or not, but it was, in my opinion, just a part of the environment. It's a male-dominated environment. I feel very lucky that I'm in this era that the things are changing, and I enter in this sector when women already made their point and established their position in the shipping industry, and that helped me a lot to move on. This motivation and these changes helped my position a lot in the industry. Of course, I witnessed also reverse discrimination. I saw women moving forward instead of men because it was this time of the day and it was this time of the era that women should move more. I witnessed both sides. I witnessed discrimination for women, but I also witnessed reverse discrimination for men. So I will not talk so much about the problem that is existing, but I will give some solutions. I will bring some ideas And certainly depends on each company.
Yeah.
Each company should provide a definition, as Captain I just said before. Each company should provide a definition according to their safety management regulations, what is harassment and what is bullying. And it should be part of their SMS, it should be part of their contracts, and it should be part also on their meetings, on their trainings. When the seafarers are going to the company to have trainings, or the companies are sending them abroad to have trainings, it should be established, even online or even face to face. And each company should inform their employees what does it mean harassment for them, and when the rules are violated. Because in my company, it considers harassment if you talk behind someone's back.
Yeah.
Which is very sensitive, which is all of us were doing it, of course. Like you can do it even when you're at home with your family. You go behind your son's back and you say something about the other son. It's part of our everyday life. It's part of our nature as humans. But if there is a rule stated somewhere in the environment that you are working, then everyone is more careful.
Okay, so what you're saying is to be placed a clear framework around bullying and sexual harassment, and maybe each company set down their own policy on that, let's say.
And
policy.
as I said, awareness should be a must. Everyone should be aware. Nobody should be exemption, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter the religion or where we're coming from. It's a thing that we're growing up with it. You face it, I think, from the school, and then it moving up to your work environment, and then you face it all the time. So if you're working in an environment that they make clear in the framework what is the harassment, what is the bullying, then everyone should be aligned on this regulation.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point, actually. Thank you, Andromachi. And Susanne, I'm coming back to you. The new STCW amendments address bullying and sexual harassment, but what does compliance actually look like in real onboard life? And I would like also Andromachi and Captain maybe reply to this question as well, since they are on board, especially Andromachi. Yeah, Susanne?
Yeah, so I'm speaking from the office perspective, and I can say that with the new amendments, this has been included into basic safety. So if you want to join a ship, this will be part of your basic safety. If you're already an experienced officer, you will have an update, so to say, which you have to join and undergo, where you will be made aware of the factors which are applied and the technicalities. So this is awareness. But actually, I think compliance means coming from this awareness, from this paperwork, from these boxes, to living it, actually living it on board. And I think it's up to, and maybe the captain and Andromachi, they can support that message. It is actually up to the management of the ship to create a safe environment where people feel safe to report, safe reporting channels, and then psychological safety for everyone, because I do believe the responsibility is with the management, with the captain and with the officers, because as we all know, bullying doesn't come from down to up. It goes from a position of power. That's definitely the case. So that's why it's up to the management, I believe, to create psychological safety for everyone, including them, to be able to talk to each other, but also to hear out the crew, the cadets on board.
Yeah, and I think that this really gives me a good pass to ask Captain, but Andromachi, feel free to jump in if you want also. So
Okay.
Captain, what is the difference between a leader who enforces policy and a leader who creates psychological safety, finally?
Yeah, actually, I can answer both questions. The previous one.
Yeah.
Actually, this is very important to see this kind of studies in the maritime sector within the MSc. But the most important thing that how will be the implementation on board with these studies. I don't think so. They make some clarification of the deeply informations, how they make some implementation on board, how they manage it, or how the companies manage it, all these studies. But as I told, it's still very important for all seafarers. At least it's a step to start something. And for the second question, what's the difference between leader and who enforce policy and leader who creates a psychological safety, safe working area? I am working as a class surveyor actually at these days also. So I'm checking lots of things about the new regulations and rules on board. So the seafarers are really under stress, and they are really facing lots of problems with the new rules and regulations every day, with the environmental pollution, health and safety, and MLC and other issues. And there are lots of rules for them, and everybody pushing them. Everybody, like me, surveyors, or state controllers, companies, agents, and it's very hard to really in these days working on board. So the masters and chief officer and the head of the both lines for the masters and chief engineer, they must be really understandable, and maybe they can make some create for their crew some safe working area. They can help them, because also they are more experienced about all these things. And this is not only being a leader on board to make every job and every duty on the same time and all together. So they cannot push all the crew to make all these jobs together at the same time. So maybe also it should be they need to manage with the time, and they can consider that if they are on those some port periods or in the sailing time. So they need to manage it actually for their crew. If they cannot manage it, sure, they will face some problem with the time management and with the crew, and they will not create some psychological safe area for them, and also physical safe area for the crew.
Okay.
So it's not the same thing to enforce everything to the crew. So it's not the same thing. I don't believe that. It's not being a good leader.
Yeah, get your point. Andromachi, any comment on this? Something that you would like to add in relation to this?
I will go into a little bit more specific incidents or any other thing that the captain said. I strongly believe in the near future we're gonna see that the manager and the leader will be one, because people who are managers, they will not have an option at all, and they will be leaders also. With the new regulations, with the support from the companies, with the trainings that we will establish, with the vision that we have in the industry that we need more leaders, some people who are still thinking a little bit behind, let's say, they will not have a lot of choice but to move forward and to become a leader. It's gonna be so many regulations, it's gonna be so many incidents, and all of us, we know that in the world that we are living, it takes only someone to make one mistake and then the regulation is coming.
Yeah.
So we have so many incidents, we have witnessed so many cases. The social media are everywhere, everyone knows about everyone. So nobody will actually have a choice rather than to be implemented by this change. So leader and manager will be one. You will be both in the near future, and the manager and the leader, and it can be combined. Also, in the incidents between bullying and harassment, or I saw also a comment on Q&A now from Miss Jessica now. We should understand that first of all, we should assess the situation by understanding how many people are involved. Is it between two people? Of course, there are always two sides. Or is it more than two people? Or what's really going on?
Yeah.
We should hear both sides because, yes, the person who reports first gets one step ahead, but we should also hear the other side, what's really going on. We should hear also the other point of view.
Yeah.
This is my comment on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this nice comment brings me very nicely to the next question, where what I want to ask you here in multinational cruise. Okay, we know that this industry, this is how it works. How do cultural differences complicate what is considered acceptable behavior, according to your?
I think it's the most challenging part.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't understanding in the beginning, because I was always thinking that I don't really say where I'm coming from, but you can see it. It's the most challenging part of working on board, and especially if you are the only one. Let's say if you are a South European and you're working with North Europeans, it's totally different. If you're a person from England and you're working with Americans, even if you speak the same language, sometimes you don't understand each other. So this is the most challenging part of working on board, because in the frame of culture is the religion also. And combining religion, age, and gender, this brings you the culture that you have. Where are you coming from? And definitely all of us were coming from many places, from many different places. As long as you work with different nationalities and different cultures, yes, you will understand that as human beings, we don't have a lot of differences. As human beings, individual, like our mindsets, our psychology, our bodies, we don't have a lot of difference. But the huge difference and the huge impact that can affect our working environment is our culture. How we grow up, how we step out, why we went at sea, why we stepped in the industry. And everyone has a different history. And then there is the problem. Like for us in South Europe, it's not a problem if you point your finger and you're moving your hands. For other cultures, you seem very stressed when you move your hands and when you point your fingers, and it's quite rude when you're talking all the time like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get your point, but is there any unacceptable behavior in regards what we're discussing here that have you witnessed, for example, something that for you could be a bullying behavior, but someone else, because he's coming or she's coming from another culture, it's not such a thing. I think this is what
I
you're
think
saying.
it's again both ways. I think it's again, I probably I did also something that it was considered rude and I didn't understand it. And I think they did something, they said something that they didn't consider it rude, but I considered it. So again, again, we're coming to the point, just be clear your expectations and explain yourself. Because when this time comes, like I will say, why did you say that? Why did you do that? And then I will try to figure out and I will try to justify. So it's part of the communication, and it's not only one way, it's coming from both sides, the misunderstanding.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you, Andromachi. Susanne, I will ask you something else, but if you feel like to make any comment on this matter, please feel free. I wanted to ask you, what responsibility do bystanders have when they witness inappropriate behavior? Of course, now with inappropriate behavior, it's a big chapter, but I will let you talk about it.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think the thing with the bystander is that when you, for the first time, are brave enough to be in a work environment and see something which is not appropriate, and you speak up, you stand up and you speak up for your colleague. It was not even about yourself. You witnessed something which happened to your colleague. And although this is not family, because for your family you might do that right away, but this is for your colleague. You stand up, you speak up for him, and you have this feeling that you did the right thing. I think this is very empowering, and it is, I think, the start when you will continue to do that, because you just do the right thing. It feels right, and you have the idea that maybe one day when this is happening to you and you lose your speech, someone will be your bystander, and as an ultimate act of empathy, be an upstander. You know, that's what you actually turn into when you speak up for someone. And this has many ways. I mean, I do understand, I mean, although I'm not a seafarer, I do understand that there are times when you have to prioritize the safety of the vessel, and there's an operation going on, and you cannot at that moment right away sort that problem out, because the safety supersedes. But thereafter, you can talk to your colleague and you can approach them when you're sitting down for dinner, and you can tell them, hey, listen, what I witnessed is not okay. Do you need me to help you to report this? I mean, I'm here for you. If you just want to talk about this, or if you want to report this and you don't know how, just let me know, when you're ready to talk about this, and we'll figure it out together. And I think this is a great act, and I think it will be a ripple effect. And it will be great if more people do that for each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. And that nice perspective brings me to you, Fatma. And I want to ask you from a psychological perspective, what are the long-term effects on a seafarer who experiences ongoing bullying?
First of all, thank you, Sofia, and thank you, my colleagues who are here today, because this is a tough one. This is a tough topic to speak and maybe even listen. So I work many years with survivors who are the victims of sexual abuse or bullying. And even today, when we are organizing this webinar, we get comments like, this is a myth, it doesn't exist, and they are only talking about this because of the attention and everything. We get that kind of comments. So I want to start with that, because I believe this is important point to make. If you believe this issue is a myth, it may simply mean that no survivor has trusted you enough to share their experience. It may also mean that you have normalized certain boundary-crossing behaviors within maritime culture and therefore overlooked them. The only reason you might think this is a myth could be that it has never been made visible to you, not that it does not exist. So I want to start with that. So, with your question, from a psychological perspective, the first and most fundamental need of a seafarer is psychological safety and sense of belonging. Life at sea is already isolating, hierarchical, and high risk. Crew members depend on each other, not only operationally, but emotionally also. When ongoing bullying occurs, it directly violates that need for safety and belonging. The ship, which should feel like a secure base, by the way, becomes a threat environment. Mm-hmm. So long-term exposure to bullying can lead to chronic stress, anxiety, sleep disturbance, depression, reduced self-worth, and in more severe cases, trauma-related symptoms. So cognitive functioning is also affected. What I mean by that, concentration, decision-making, and risk assessment decline. And in maritime settings, that is not only a mental health issue, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
We are not safe, basically.
Yes.
So maybe we have to look at that way.
Mhm.
Because there is also a relational impact. When trust erodes, teamwork collapses. The individual may withdraw, emotionally shut down, or become hypervigilant. Over time, this creates burnout, disengagement, and sometimes an early exit from the profession. And
Yeah.
also, gender plays a critical role here. I want to address that issue as well, because men often experience bullying within power hierarchies and may feel intense pressure to toughen up, be a man, and stay silent, which increases internalized shame and isolation.
Mhm.
On the other hand, women, especially in male-dominated crews, are more likely to face gender-based harassment or sexualized behaviors, and I believe which attack not only professional identity, but personal safety and dignity. So this creates a dual burden, proving competence while protecting oneself. So the long-term effect is not the individual distress, it's the erosion of safety, belonging, identity, and ultimately operational effectiveness on board.
Mhm. Thank you, Fatma. And what about the junior crews now? If a junior crew member is afraid to report, what would make them feel safe enough to speak, according to your opinion?
Yeah, it is an important question because it tells all about our culture. If a junior crew member is afraid to report, the issue is rarely about courage, it is safety. People speak when they believe three things: that they will be taken seriously, that they will not be punished socially or professionally, and that something will actually change. Psychological safety does not begin at the moment of reporting. It is built long before through leadership behavior, zero tolerance policies that are truly enforced, and confidential reporting channels and visible consequences for misconducts.
Mhm.
So when crew members see that senior officers intervene early in small boundary violations, trust grows. Clear, anonymous reporting system matter because access to someone outside the direct chain of command matters. And also trauma-informed responses matter, meaning no victim blaming, no minimizing the behavior, no "are you sure" reactions,
Mhm. Mhm.
For junior crew, especially in rigid hierarchies, fear of retaliation and career damage is very real. So what's make them feel safe is not a policy on a paper, but it is consistent and observable action.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, Fatma. Thank you. My next question is to all of you. Whoever feels like to reply first, feel free. And I want to ask, are we sometimes protecting reputations more than protecting people? I don't know if who would first like to pick. Andromache, I see you are more ready on this.
I would like to add something based on what Fatima said
Okay, yeah, sure,
and
please.
your previous question, then I will come to your point. First of all, as a junior, I used to be also junior officer not a long time ago, and I'm very proud from my strong memory because my strong memory also reminds me the feelings that I had that time. So I have a very high emotional intelligence, especially for junior officers or for people who are going through the same thing. We should understand that for some people, no matter how good you are, how competent you are, in their eyes, you will be always the worst. And in their eyes, you will be always incompetent. Maybe for them, you are. Maybe you're not fitted there. But you should understand that if you're not fitted there, it doesn't mean that you don't fit anywhere else.
Yeah.
And all of us, we should create our own path without hesitating, without comparing ourselves, without listening what other people are giving you as an advices. Each people has their own timeline and their own path. So we should understand, we should protect ourselves by not letting others getting under our skin. Now, what you said about reputation and I'm sorry, I forgot reputation and
Are we sometimes protecting reputations more than protecting people?
um, we are working for a company, and the company has a purpose. Like the captain is working as a class surveyor, he has his target. So the company has a purpose and has a target. And we have some policies that we establish, these policies. Nobody likes drama. So the best solution for both ways is that what I said before, to assess the whole situation. This is how you protect both your reputation and both your people. Because if you don't keep the balance between these two, then you will lose. If you protect more your reputation than your people, then your people will go away. So you need to spend more money to invest more in more people. Then you need to invest more to new training instead of watching your people as an asset and investing on them and keeping your people. And you protect more your reputation and keeping your targets above than your people, then something else is going on. Other than that, on the other side now, if you protect more your people and if you give more weight to this side of the story, then you are losing your target. Even if the people are stable and if the people are staying there and they feel a little bit more secure, they will think, oh, I can do whatever I want, so it doesn't matter anymore. Then you are losing from your target and from your reputation.
Yeah.
It means you will not receive new minds, you will not receive new mindsets, you will not see what's going on. And if someone who is working 20 years and he's working for a company or she's working for a company who are keeping their people and they're protecting their people, and they say it's only about our people, then the target might go down because you didn't keep up with the new generation, you didn't keep up with your reputation as an innovating company. So it should be balanced, it should be assessed from both sides, any situation, and the reputation and people should come together because your people are your reputation and your reputation are your people. In Greece, we say the phrase, show me your friend and I will tell you who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the same in Turkish.
Yes, I'm sure it's
Same in
a
Turkey.
standard phrase. I think it's all around the world.
Yeah.
But in Greece, we say it all the time.
But Andromachi, I will ask you, and this question is the same for Captain too. If reporting bullying can cost someone their contract, can we really say the system is safe?
Yeah, I can answer if I can start.
Go ahead, yes, yes.
Yeah, sure, we cannot say it's a safe place to work if you report some problem on board with your managers, and if it affects a risk about your career, sure, it's not a safe place to work. So, but companies and also managers has to do something about these things. So we cannot solve it by ourselves on board. This is not a problem of us only, which is working on board. Actually, it must be a policy for everybody, and everybody must be obey all these policies and rules on board. And the organizational improvement must be continuous about these policies. Actually, this is not a this is not a rigid or some solid thing that they need to solve only on board. There are lots of problems on board, but this is one of the problems. So they need to solve it. So being a labeled when you are working on the maritime environment, it is really high risk. I was thinking that when I was working on board, it's a specific things for our culture. It's Turkish seafarers between, but I faced lots of people same problem with lots of people from the world. Actually, it's a worldwide problem for the seafarers. Because we are always saying that this is a isolated sector, and everybody knows each other, and this is a good thing actually for the seafarers. Also, creates another problem, like being labeled, and this is also scary for the seafarers. When you want to make some reporting about the bullying and mobbing and some other problems on board, you are thinking twice, actually. So as I told, this is not a only problem with some specific seafarers, and it must be solved with deeply research policies. Maybe from the MLC, maybe from the IMO, and each companies must be obey these rules, and they have to implement their ISM procedures actually.
Yeah,
I
and
just feel like that.
yeah, and I think that brings us to what Andromachi said from the very beginning, that each company, in the end of the day, needs to set up a framework around this topic in general. But
Yeah,
Captain,
yeah.
if you were 19 years old now,
Can
and
I?
yeah,
Can
yeah,
I say-
sure, Fatma, yes, please.
Because I believe we are moving on, but I want to add something what Andromachi and Gökhan said about covering up, because yes, we do, and when that happens, people immediately feel it. What I mean by that, from a psychological perspective, when an organization prioritizes reputation over people, it sends a powerful message. Image matters more than safety. And once that perception forms, trust erodes very quickly. What I mean by that, protecting reputation often looks like minimizing incidents, reframing them as misunderstandings, delaying investigations, or encouraging silence to avoid escalation. But in the long term, this strategy backfires because unaddressed harm does not disappear. It goes underground. It turns into disengagement, turnover, silent suffering, and sometimes public crisis. We know all about it because, like Captain said, it's really small word, and we know all about it. So when people see that protecting status, hierarchy, or brand comes before protecting individuals, they stop reporting. This is one of the most important reason, because people feel that, and we have to address that issue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Fatma. I will move a little bit faster now to the next question, and I will go because I want to give to attendees also the chance to speak up, because I see very nice comments there, and maybe we can have some time to discuss on these comments too. So Susanne, I'm coming to you, and I'm coming to the new generation now, okay? Gen Z. All right. Do you think Gen Z will change onboard culture, or will onboard culture change them?
Growing and feeding one of the Gen Z at home, I think, Sophia, you know as well, that they are very outspoken, and they will definitely, a lot of things they are already demanding because they are in the age to have their first interviews for cadetship and so on. So they are presenting a mindset of this is what I want, while we were maybe at the beginning be like, can I please join this company on whatever conditions, they are coming and they are having their lists, which includes Wi-Fi and which includes that they want to feel safe on board, definitely. While the generation which is still on board and present and of the old mindset, so to say, will bring them down a little bit. Definitely, they will force the movement, and the whole Me Too movement and the Epstein files that has helped us on the land side, making things more safe and speaking up. The same thing will happen on board. They will demand their psychological safety. They will not be working in toxic environments, that's for sure. And we need fresh new talent. We need young people, and we will definitely have to bend a little bit for them.
Yeah. Andromachi, thank you so much, Susan. I completely agree with you. Younger seafarers are less willing, as just Susan told us, to just tolerate things. From a part of the maritime industry, they are accused as soft ones or well brought
Weak.
up ones, or is that a challenge or an opportunity for them? Do you?
As
what is
part
your
of this,
opinion?
I'm in the middle of both generations because I was born in 1995, and but I'm hanging also around with people who are born 2000, 2005. So my mind is working also a little bit more than with the people who are 2000, 2005. I don't consider them soft, and I don't consider me also soft. I just consider that we have higher standards and we are demanding things that they should be already established 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we are the soft. I think we have zero tolerance in some stuff. And it just, yes, in the previous generations, it seems a little bit strange, and it can seem a little bit that we're coming from another planet. But I think they would be praying and they would love to have the same standards and the same ability to demand these things that we are demanding. Only if you are in this industry you can survive. Only if you are very open-minded, you are listening to the other people, and it really doesn't matter if it happens to you. Why you should let it happen to the other person because it happened to you? So it doesn't mean because I face also difficulties. So why I should leave a boy or a girl who are coming now on board and they born on 2010? Why should leave them to witness the same situation, to go through the same situation that I went through?
Yeah.
So I don't consider anyone soft. It depends on each individual how much time they want to spend on board. It depends on them how they want to invest their time on board. It's up to them. I will not push anyone to work or to learn. I can repeat the things 100 times, no problem, but I will not push anyone and I will not judge anyone if they're soft or not. It's
Mhm.
just standard things that they should be happening 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're coming to as Miss Susanne said before, we're coming to this, like all our stereotypes, my generation stereotypes that we had, people who are ruling the world now are apparently involved in some very strange situations. So do you understand how my generation and how the millennium generation, how the Gen Z is damaged on that? That that your parents grow up and teach you for some people and teach you political situation and teach you about some role models of the world that you should monitor them and you should talk about them when you are in the house because they're in the social events in the world, and now you're finding out that they're involved in some very strange situations and you don't know what to believe. So my generation, the Gen Z generation, is not soft at all, just demanding certain stuff. And yes, I become a little bit more passionate about this. I saw on the Q&A a lady that she commented on the reputation and the people, what we said before. And I would like to clarify that I never said that we should tolerate situations only because of the reputation. We should balance things. It's two different things, for tolerating and for balance. Nobody should tolerate anything. And this is what we're talking about now, about that this generation doesn't tolerate anything and they should not tolerate anything.
Maybe because they were raised by parents who tolerated a lot. And this generation was seeing that. They were witness to that. And yeah, I get your point. From a psychological perspective, Fatma, how does generational difference affect how harassment or boundaries are perceived?
I think this is an important question because we need to work together and we need to understand each other. So from a psychological perspective, I believe generational differences influence not only what people tolerate, but how they interpret behavior, power, and identity. Older generations in maritime culture were often socialized in environments where hierarchy was unquestioned, authority was rarely challenged, and endurance was a core value. So psychological survival meant adapting, suppressing emotion, and normalizing discomfort. Over time, repeated exposure to harsh communication or boundary crossing behaviors can become cognitively reframed as normal or necessary or even professional. So this is a classic normalization process. What is repeated becomes accepted. Younger generations, however, have developed in a different psychological climate, like you just said. There is a greater awareness of trauma, consent, mental health, and workplace dignity. So boundaries are more clearly defined and self-advocacy is encouraged in this generation. And I admire that as a millennial, by the way, because these behaviors that were once interpreted as discipline or humor may now be perceived as intimidation or harassment. There is also a neurological and development layer. Younger professionals are still forming their occupational identity and sense of belonging. When boundaries are violated early in their careers, it impacts not only their stress levels, but their professional self-concept. What I mean by that, they are questioning, do I belong here? Am I safe here? That threat to belonging is deeply destabilizing. Meanwhile, older crew members may experience this shift as a loss of authority or resilience or power, interpreting boundary setting as fragility rather than evolution. So psychologically, the conflict is not just about behavior, it is about meaning. The same action can represent, just like Andromache said, the same action can represent different meanings to different generations. So it is all about meaning. The key is not choosing one generation over the other. It is recognizing that psychological safety standards evolve, and when awareness increases, our leadership models must evolve with it because we have to keep up.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Fatma, very much. Andromache, before I go to the final closing question, would you like to define the difference in the balance and tolerance one of our attendees is asking?
First of all, to clarify that tolerance, what we tolerate, or the previous generations, or what they, Sofia, you are a long time in the industry,
yeah,
and you know how we are working here. You know how hard can be. And I think it's this tolerance that caused all the problems that we're facing now. Because tolerating this kind of incidents is what brought us today here.
Yeah.
My generation is facing other problems. My generation, at least 7 out of 10 people are under medication, psychological medication. Now, to define the balance between tolerance, what I said before, how to balance the people and the reputation. By balancing, you don't have to tolerate situations. I'm not saying that you have to believe 100% the other side, but you should assess also the other side. And you should talk to other people on board, because if it's happening on board, the environment on board, all of us know here, the captain also know, it's like a small village. Everyone knows before you act. Everyone knows what you think. It's like a small village, and everyone knows about your character more than your family. So you can see if it's an incident staged or if it's an incident that really happened. At the moment that it happens, and then you decide to report it and you decide not to tolerate it, which is the correct action, then, and it goes, you can, even if it happens between a crew member and the captain or a chief engineer with your senior management, then there is a designated person ashore you can call. And there are other authorities that you can call and you can inform them. Then we're coming to the management style of each company. And the management should be aware that two people or dragging away from the drama is by keeping them away until you assess the situation. This is how you balance your reputation and your people, not tolerating any kind of harassment or bullying by keeping your reputation, your people inside in this close environment.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you mean. We only have 2 minutes, unfortunately. I still can't believe how 1 hour almost already passed. This is a huge topic. I wish we could stay here for at least 2 more hours and discuss with our attendees. So I would just like to ask you the last final question, and each of you briefly give me your opinion on that. If there is one practical change companies could implement tomorrow to reduce bullying on board, what would it be? Very quickly, the first thing that it's coming to your mind. Susanne, you would like to start with you?
Yeah, definitely it is each and everyone on board reflecting on themselves, and there has to be ownership on everyone that puts a foot on board to understand coming here to work with other humans and human to human. I want to respect you. I want to trust you because our safety demands it or needs it. And yeah, just being human to each other, and that I think is the first step. And then second, definitely not only having these reporting channels to your own company, but appointing an independent company like Maritime and Healthcare Group, for example, to take up the reporting and support the people, because you might feel more confident reporting to an independent third party than you would to your own company. And the risk of immediately having to discuss your contract or losing your contract is by that gone, maybe.
Thank you, Susanne. Fatma?
I have only one solutions for companies, and it is very simple, I would say. Make psychological safety a leadership KPI. Not just a value statement, not a poster, not a policy in a manual, a measurable expectation. Let's captain and senior officer should be evaluated, not only an operational performance, but on a crew climate as well. So let's see those changes.
Thank you, Fatma. Captain?
Uh, Actually, it's a little bit hard to make something in tomorrow. I cannot say actually it's not fair, but at least they can make a fair explanation to anybody on board with the senior management and all other crews. Actually, they can be different about their jobs on board, their duties on board, salaries on board. It can be different, but as a human, they are same in the same level, so they can be open about all this being a human rules with everybody.
Yeah.
So they need to be explained to everybody of that it can be start from the master and to all crew on board. It should be actually.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain. Andromachi?
I will agree with Fatma and Suzanne, like to stay human to each other. That's it. I think it's the best phrase that I heard in the whole webinar. Just stay human to each other and about the KPI. As long as we see our people as an investment and a part of our budget, then a lot of problems can be solved. It takes hard work and takes time, but it should be from everyone. It should be all of us on the same line.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andromachi and everyone. And as we close today's session, such an important conversation, I would like to sincerely thank you, our panelists, first of all, for their valuable insights and openness, and our attendees who were very active at the Q&A, and I feel very sorry that we didn't manage to save some time and give them the opportunity to speak up within the panel. Bullying and sexual harassment are not just policy issues, they are cultural issues, and culture is shaped every day by leadership, behavior, and the courage to speak up. Compliance, yes, may set the framework, but psychological safety creates real change. So if today's discussion sparks even one meaningful conversation on board or ashore, then I believe we have taken a step forward. So on behalf of Maritime and Healthcare Group, thank you all for joining us. We hope this discussion encourages reflection, dialogue, and practical action within your own organizations. Let's continue breaking the silence together. The standard we tolerate is the culture we create. I want to close with this statement. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.